Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Triangle Offense. I'm Monish. As always, I'm joined by Nishant. We had a pretty interesting week in the NBA. It was also overshadowed by the NFL playoffs, but the NBA went on and it was pretty interesting, wasn't it? In today's episode, I want to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, who might pretty much end up the Eastern Conference champions again. But are they really the team to be scared of? Brooklyn Nets beat them, Boston Celtics beat them. Philadelphia might beat them if they had Embiid, they just lost. But this is a team that is repeating what they did in the last 2 years, and they don't look really like contenders. They lost to the Lakers again last week. So we'll talk about Milwaukee Bucks and we'll see how they're going. Hey Nishant, what's up? What do you think the Milwaukee Bucks are up to? I would say a pretty underwhelming loss to the Lakers because I expected that to be a more close game.
Yep.
But the Lakers pretty much cruised through it. I mean, yeah, the points show like 7-point win or something like that, but it was a pretty easy win for the Lakers. They never looked like losing that, did they?
Yeah, Lakers were in cruise control as they are in most games this season. I think they've registered more blowout games, and blowout being 14-point margin or higher than pretty much any other team this season. But you'd expect a tougher fight, especially if you're looking at an Eastern Conference Finals contender at the very least, if not a chip contender. They should be after making the move that they wanted and getting Jrue Holiday. As much as they botched the Bogdanovic move, this was still an intriguing squad. Right? We wanted to see where this thing was going. Here's the trouble with the Milwaukee Bucks. Jrue Holiday coming in definitely upgrades their offense. And this team's going to get to the playoffs one way or another, right? And what we'll see is it upgrades their offense big time, even in the postseason. In fact, that's really where it'll start to reflect. It's a bit like Rondo in the sense that playoffs is really where Jrue Holiday shines, as good as he is through the regular season, which is better than Rondo. Now, that's an upgrade on Bledsoe on offense, upgrade on defense too, but on offense, it's just a staggering difference. But there's still the matter of your MVP is going to be the MVP or somewhere at that level. Like, be a top 5 player in the league for you to really still be contenders. Otherwise, you'll be a good team. You'll be a team that gives others, like a Utah Jazz, gives somebody else a run for their money and then eventually fizzles out. Now, the problem is for that to change, you've upgraded your playoff offense. You've probably upgraded your regular season offense in Jrue Holiday, and your perimeter defense is a little stronger than it was with Bledsoe. Is your MVP any better? Because none of this matters. If Giannis isn't going to improve, if Giannis can't shoot, and if Giannis can't make free throws, teams are going to double up on on Giannis. They're going to leave others open. And if Giannis is on the perimeter, they're going to leave Giannis open. It always gives the defense a little more advantage, a little more man luxury to deal with the Bucks offense. Then there's the simple issue of in the fourth quarter, you're just going to have hacker Giannis. Just like there was hacker Shaq. People are going to foul him. And he'll make one out of 2 at best. Probably not even those sometimes late in the game. I mean, he's airballing free throws still.
True.
That's atrocious. Last time I saw somebody be this bad at free throw shooting was Shaq. And with Shaq, the complaint was, as was the case with a few other players from his era, that he is so supremely gifted that he doesn't put in the effort on practice sometimes. It was the same thing that was said about Allen Iverson and a bunch of other players from that era. So gifted, don't show up for practice. That hurts. Now with Shaq, eventually that put a rift between him and Kobe. He shipped out. With Giannis, here's a guy that's driven to get better every day. Nobody's ever complained about his work ethic. You don't have disciplinary issues. You don't have diva complaints, as the case is with Kawhi Leonard or Kyrie Irving or James Harden or any of these guys, whose off-field antics sometimes hurt the locker room. Sometimes. None of that with Giannis. He's the consummate professional, the model guy, the face of the franchise. So it blows my mind how these many seasons in, he's still that bad at free throws. Like, you're a pro NBA player, 2-time back-to-back MVP. You're still airballing free throws. That doesn't make sense to me. So something's amiss here. His shooting's is marginally better. He's making a few more threes than before, but a lot of them have to be open threes. He still can't shoot off the dribble or create his own shot from outside the perimeter or even like a deep 2 jumper, mid-range. None of that. So then the more this drags on, the more it gets predictable. As it is, you walked in last season into every arena as the MVP. Now you walk in as the 2-time back-to-back MVP. And there's a target on your back anyway. Defenders are going to come at you. People want to prove that they're the best by benchmarking against you. And seeing how well they can stop you. And then if you give them a whiff that you're still the same guy, which means defenses can say, okay, what did Toronto do to stop him 2 years ago? What did Boston or Miami do to stop him last season?
Yeah.
Paste, boom, done. And then
Yeah.
you're basically going to live and die by the strengths of Jrue Holiday and Middleton, which they're amazing players, but they're not Giannis. For this team to
Right.
function, they've got to be great, and Giannis has got to be an MVP caliber player. That's the difference right now. You'll
Right.
go ahead, go for it.
So I was thinking about this. When you look at the top teams that you talk about being real chip contenders this season, right? The Lakers. When you see the top two players on the team, it's LeBron and AD, and there's not much difference between them in terms of gameplay or how good they are in terms of the quality they bring to the team. You look at Brooklyn Nets, it's the same thing. There's not much difference between KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving either. So the top two, top three are like really close to each other. In the case of Milwaukee Bucks, there's a big downgrade, isn't there, between Giannis and say Middleton or Jrue Holiday? There's a big gap, and do you think that like they really don't have a second guy who can support Giannis because Giannis' strengths and weaknesses, but there's nobody else to complement or cover up his weaknesses. Like there's no sharpshooter. Middleton is a sharpshooter, but you see how he sinks off and how he hides in the playoffs. So is that the problem? There is Middleton really the second guy on a championship winning team? Can he be that guy?
No, but the thing is, that's a question I'd even come to. First of all, that's a playoff question because in the regular season, he's been that guy for a while now.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that's a question we should come to when the superstar does his bit. Like when LeBron's LeBron and AD is AD, that's when we have the debate. And we do, because they are those guys, have the debate of who's the Lakers' third scoring option. Like all of last season, that was the debate. Will it be Kuzma who steps up? Will it be KCP? As it turned out, it was a combination of a bunch of guys last season, right? But you wouldn't really be worried about who's the best scorer if LeBron or AD was screwing it up on a regular basis. And by screwing it up, I mean being anything less than the lethal elite level that they are. We wouldn't have that second debate because the first problem itself isn't solved. I'm saying with Giannis being who he is right now, which is largely static. There might be marginal improvements on stats, but the playing style and what it takes to stop him is the same as it was 2 seasons ago. I don't think he's improved at all. That's a problem because more teams will be able to figure it out. So then, will Middleton be that guy? I'm saying even if he is that guy, it probably won't matter.
Okay.
It's like Anthony Davis could be phenomenal, but if LeBron just completely falls off the wagon or becomes too predictable like Giannis is, with the kind of flaws that Giannis has, that's a problem for the Lakers. And I'm saying that's really where they're stuck. I'm looking at Middleton and I'm saying this guy's made improvements to his game. He's actually made improvements to his game. Wasn't that great shooting to one side before? He is now.
Yeah.
So I see these improvements coming in. What worries me is it all comes back to the motivation of the superstar. Against the Lakers, what happened last season when the Bucks played the Lakers? And the Lakers had a big win, back-to-back Clippers Bucks.
Right.
And LeBron made a name in that short stretch, put himself into the MVP conversation because he took on Kawhi directly and he took on Giannis directly on defense, defensive duties. Giannis guarded him at the other end, and that was a good battle which LeBron eventually won. What happened this season? Giannis was perfectly happy staying inside, asking Jrue Holiday to take LeBron.
Yeah.
Now, perimeter or inside, if you're not taking that assignment, that's a problem. I'm not saying be the man, Jordan and Kobe used to do it. No, none of that. I'm saying there's a change in intent. Last season, it was Giannis who took on LeBron. And now it's Jrue Holiday. I'd understand if Jrue Holiday has some size. Like Bledsoe is short, that's why it wasn't Bledsoe, but Jrue Holiday has said, no, he doesn't. He's like half a foot shorter than LeBron. So why is he guarding? LeBron can literally just pass over Jrue Holiday's head. Like it's that ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at all of these things and I'm thinking, is there a motivation issue in Milwaukee? Because let me say Chris Middleton is that guy. He is ready to play this to be the second best player on a championship team. And you know what? I think players like that don't go cold for too long. I think he's made credible improvements to his game. If he still throws up in the postseason, then that's just a mental toughness issue, and in which case this would be the final nail in his coffin as far as clutch postseason goes. But I'm saying the way it's going, I don't see the same level of drive and motivation from Giannis that we saw last season or the season before that. Now, if this drags on too long, you know what the papers are going to say. He got his big contract and he got complacent. I don't think that's it. Are there locker room issues that are not coming out? Doesn't look like it. It's really strange. Let me just say that it's really strange. I think
Okay.
Middleton's ready to be that guy in the postseason. Shockingly, I don't think Giannis is ready to lead his team to the finals yet, because I don't see any improvement over the last 2 seasons.
Okay, while I don't quite agree with that because Giannis is still getting those numbers, he's still playing like Giannis should, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
he's
playing
missing those free
exactly
throws.
like Giannis plays, which means it takes exactly the same things to stop him. That
True.
hasn't changed. That's my point. Not the production; it's there. But you know how this will end. If this goes to the playoffs,
Yeah.
they'll form. Well, what did the Lakers do? They did the same brick wall thing. Anthony Davis,
Yep.
LeBron,
Yep.
Montrezl Harrell, Marc Gasol, just cut off Giannis's driving lanes, and that's it. Because he can't shoot, he can't shoot, he can't make free throws. That's the liability part I'm talking about.
Okay, I think I might partially agree to that. It's fair to say that Giannis really needs to up his game if Milwaukee have to make a run for this. But I'm also worried about the other pieces. I mean, the number two, number three guys he spoke about, the number four, number five guys, Brook Lopez, DiVincenzo, Bobby Portis, DJ Agustin. I don't see them on a chip winning team ever because yeah, you might get great numbers on one odd day, but you can't do it over a 7 game series. Not against the Nets, not against 76ers,
Yeah.
not against Lakers if you get there. So I'm really having my doubts on Milwaukee Bucks. If there is one positive for them, it's very early in the season for them to make repairs, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It is. And this might be overreaction central right now. But I don't know if I'll buy that premise. DiVincenzo, all of these guys, look, they'll be on a championship team if their best players are championship caliber players. Like if you put DiVincenzo on the Lakers right now, he'd look like, yeah, sure, he can belong on a championship team. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go back to the most recent season we've had. Let's say the Lakers won it, right? Let's say they didn't. Let's say the Clippers won it. That'd be like debating if Reggie Jackson is worth being on a championship team when Kawhi isn't performing in the first place. Because then, like the franchise has got bigger problems than whether the squad players are up to the mark or not. With the Bucks, it's the same thing. Maybe DiVincenzo is that guy, maybe he's not. But I'm saying that should be the secondary, tertiary problem that they should be worried about. Their primary problem is the face of the franchise is all too predictable. Like you look at Philadelphia, right? And people are already writing them off just because of how strong Brooklyn look. Philadelphia have Embiid playing borderline MVP level right now.
True.
But they have a bit of the same problem, which is why Brooklyn just shot to the top of the favorites list as soon as they put together this squad. Which is Ben Simmons is another Giannis.
Yeah.
He just doesn't seem to improve. It's the numbers might go up. What he does might get better. He might get slightly more steals per game, blah, blah, blah. Production's going up. But what it takes to invalidate this superstar in the postseason seems to largely be the same. Giannis bricks free throws, shoots air balls. Ben Simmons shoots the worst 3-point misses you'll ever see. Like Paul George hitting the sideboard was bad enough. At least he hit something. Ben Simmons hits absolutely nothing other than air, right? So it's a bit of a same conundrum that both these teams in the East have, that there are these two players who just can't seem to shoot, which is so strange in an era where not only is everyone required to shoot, everyone's required to shoot threes. And here are guys that don't even have a mid-range. It's astonishing.
That's all for today. Always fun doing this with you. And we'll be back tomorrow. And that's it. See you.
All right, man. Sounds good. Cheers. See you.